Yo, what's good, guys? So if there's something that I consistently talk to you guys about, it's how hard you work. Making sure that you're putting in the necessary time and the effort to be about your craft. The other thing I consistently talk to you guys about is, well, paying attention to who you're working with, because sometimes that's just as important. Paying attention to who's in your circle, who you're listening to, who you're talking to. I'm essentially talking about networking. Networking is such an essential piece to anyone. If you're a musician, it's important. If you're an entrepreneur, it's super, super important. And I wanted to have that conversation with you guys about the do's and the don'ts of networking. But I realized, dang, this is a topic that's it's kind of heavy, man. Talking about that, I might need some backup, and backup is what I brought. So sitting down with me to discuss this is the super wonderful and talented singer-songwriter Emily Curtis, hailing out of Charleston, South Carolina. Networking 101. If you've been missing the rest of my videos, I can promise you this is not one you want to miss. But before we get to that, we got to show love to the sponsors. So if you want to learn more about them, be sure to check out the links in the description of this video. And as always, man, go ahead and hit that subscribe button because, you've been watching a couple videos and you're starting to feel your boy a little bit. You liking the facts, you liking the tips, and you want more, you need to hit that subscribe button. All right, let's get to this work. Salutes to that.
So my question for you is, like, if you had an artist and they generally use social media to reach out to people, and they feel like they struggle with networking, like just in general, like what is something that you would tell them, as far as either like maybe tips or maybe things that work for you as far as like networking with other people?
Yeah, it helps to just have that personality that's, naturally good at making conversation and outgoing. So it can be super awkward for sure, especially if you aren't naturally like that. I think ask really good questions. Like, one of the best ways, people love to talk about themselves, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and if you ask them questions about themselves, they will tell you, and you'll probably and listen, just really genuinely listen, and they will appreciate that. Honestly, I'm trying to get better at that myself. I think just with networking in general, not making it so much of a transaction. I can't stand that. There's a book I just read, not just read, but recently, called Networking Kills, by Henry Maxwell. He's up in Nashville, and I just ate that book up. It was so good. But it was just kind of about, the heart and soul of people and relationships, and not using people, but going with people and appreciating them, because people are people. So networking can get a little bit exhausting and draining. So if you can find a way to be like a person with another person that happens to do the same thing that you do,
To be human.
yeah, like actually take a genuine interest, I think that's a key that unlocks a lot of doors in people.
Good point. Good point. And you spoke to it helps if you have the personality that already naturally, like, hey,
No.
what's up? What's going on? Right. What would you say to someone that's maybe more like introverted, right? So let's say, like, Emily just got done with a performance, right? And you're just chilling, enjoying a drink, whatever. Maybe you're on your phone, and this person wants to like talk to you, just like, hey, like they're an artist too, and they just maybe want a tip or something, but they're nervous because they're an introvert. Like, what's something that maybe like you would recommend them doing to break the ice, so to speak?
I mean, I would be careful as far as like they maybe kind of expect them to be a little bit tired, kind of gauge, what you think they may be feeling at that time, but maybe ask them, hey, or just say like, I loved your set, like, where can I follow you on social media? And just throw in, I'm also an artist, and I would just really love to see more like of your stuff. And then you can kind of see if the person goes, oh, what do? Like, if they're ready to have that kind of like back and forth conversation, then they'll be like, oh, what kind of artist are you? What do you do? That's usually how that works. If they don't, and they just kind of give you the answer, then let that be good enough and kind of maybe just take that social cue.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's good. No, that's really, really good. I think there are some people that are gonna be able to actually take that. I think that's really practical.
Good.
I think that's something that people can take and go, all right, I can try this, because you're right. Like it's personality based. Not just like the personality of who you are, but the person you're talking to.
Yeah.
Like
A
that.
lot of they're
that
introverts.
Yeah. Oh yeah, especially in music. Like people,
So,
I think people assume that all of us aren't introverts because they assume, oh well, he or she's on a stage, they must have this personality that's just so glowing and just whatever. And it's like,
no, they left it all
no,
there.
right? They left it right there. Like they have just enough of that stage,
Yep.
and then they're done. I actually like. I was surprised that I saw an interview with Denzel Washington, and come to find out, like he's very much introverted. Like he's one of those people that, like he said, like he think of a battery and he uses up all of his charge for the public, eye, right? Like, oh, he's charismatic, he's smooth, yada yada. But as soon as he's by himself, he's home, he's like, stay away from me. Like, and I was like, really?
I'm like that too. Like if I have a big weekend of just a lot of shows and a lot of people and a lot of energy and having to really oversell it, then when I'm done, like for at least like a day, like if I'm in a social situation, even with close friends, I'm just quiet naturally, just like I don't have as much to give in the situation. And my friends kind of like know that. So like it's kind of nice when you have people that really get that and you don't have to like,
explain yourself.
that means it keeps me from getting isolated too. So like I can still be around people that energize me and like they appreciate just me being there and contributing what I can kind of at that point. Yeah, because that's very real. Is like you give and give and give and you have to recharge. And sometimes if you're an introvert, like giving more and more and more isn't going to really be that recharging thing. So you're going to get quiet and withdrawn, and people just need to be aware that everybody's kind of different in that way. Not take it personally.
True. And I think that's a pressure for artists sometimes, because like when we are tired and we're in a situation where we don't, like we're not as maybe bubbly as people are accustomed to us being, and then maybe someone that doesn't really know us kind of walks up on us or whatever, like they may take that as like we're being standoffish or whatever it is. But the truth is like, hey, I just performed like 3 shows in a row, or like I did 3 shows last night just for me to wake up this morning and do another one, or like, I've been answering questions all day, or I was on an all day set for a music video, or like the things that they know nothing about. Like we still have to somehow, we feel that pressure to somehow have the strength to keep going and still be nice and still be whatever. So no, I mean, you made a really good point, especially when it comes to surrounding yourself with people that as you're pouring out, like they're pouring back into you.
Yeah.
That's super, super important. If you're an artist out there and you don't have like people around you that like support you, do it. Like make that a priority.
Join things. Become a participant in things.
Absolutely. Networking is not you getting my social media and then not contacting me or talking to me for 6 months, but then asking me for a favor.
Yes.
That is not networking.
That's not
Like
networking.
that's not networking. It'd be better if like maybe you saw me at a show, we exchanged contacts or social media, and then like maybe you're liking on my post, I'm liking on your post, or you're asking, hey, is there anything I can do to help? Or you see I drop a new song and you share it and you tag me in it. I'm like, oh, so now I'm remembering you. Like now it's more than just, oh, I met you that one time. Now it's like, oh, wow, he or she's a pretty cool person. Like that's different. Now it feels like a connection. Like
Yeah.
it starts off as like the interest, then there's a connection.
Yeah.
Then once you have the connection, that's where the networking piece, multiple people equals networking. So that's one of my big don'ts. Don't like just try to befriend me because you plan on asking me for something at some point. Like that's a big no for me.
Yeah. People, I mean, don't be a taker. You have to contribute value.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is just, I think people are going to write you off immediately if they feel like you are going to be like, and you're expecting, some kind of favors from them all the time, or that you need this, and like that they don't have other things to do, or that they have this wealth of time and energy and space to just give you all this stuff because of where they are. It's like, so don't expect a ton.
Yep.
Also, I mean, it's like I said, add value. So like, don't be a taker. You have to add value so that there's like a natural balance.
Mm-hmm.
And like kind of like what you were saying with like, you're someone that actually engages with what I'm saying and genuinely commenting or adding value to what I'm putting out there already, and not just being like, hey, I need you to listen to my stuff and tell me what's wrong. Like I really know that I can do that for you, and I'm the right person to do that. And I don't always, like, I'm trying to do a lot of things right now. It's like, okay, yeah. Or like someone will be like, why don't you follow me back? Why don't you follow me back? And I'm like, because I don't know you. It's why? It's not that you're not worthy by any means. Like, please don't take it like that. But gosh, it's like,
why? Here's what's funny. Why are you seeking validation from me that I have to follow you?
Like, oh, but I'm a musician. And I'm like, okay, that doesn't, like, you have to explain why you're not following them, or like it gets weird. It gets weird. It's draining. Yeah. Obviously, like I'm drained just like explaining what it's like.
So that's it, guys. Don't be weird. Fellas, ladies, don't be weird. Ladies, don't just start popping up on my DMs. That does happen. I'm not going to call out names. You know who you are. Fellas, do not be creepy with Emily. Don't do it, because she's not even going to come after you. I'm going to come after you for you being creepy, especially if I know you. So we just going to leave it right there. So don't be creepy. That's definitely a don't do networking piece. Don't be creepy. I actually want to add on to a point you made about like providing something, like actually contributing, right? Right. So I think people have, especially artists, we've moved out of the world where you can only be a singer, or you can only be a rapper, or you're just this. No. Like a lot of artists I know now, like, okay, they sing, but they can record their own vocals, right? Which is a great thing to have, because wait, I don't have to go to the studio. I can take care of that myself. Okay, maybe I might know someone that can engineer it for me or something like that. But I know artists that engineer. Like I do it as well. So it's like, okay, maybe engineering is not your thing, but you're really good with graphics, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know how many artists are looking for graphics? Like, come on now, like that's a skill that you can make money off of as well. Like, so even if you're a person that you want to network with someone because you feel like they have a connection, or there's something that they have that you see as valuable, then offer them something first, right? So that it's about them and not just what you're taking from them. So if it's mixing and mastering, if it's graphics, if you do videos, if you take really good photos, if you're really good at writing bios, if your social media game is up there, like whatever you can use to contribute, like maybe it's just your expertise. Like that's enough. Like people, if you're really good at marketing, like artists want that. So like contribute, something, like to your point, contribute something. I think artists a lot of times don't know, well, what can I offer him? What can I offer her? Right. I promise you have something. Like I promise, like even if it's you saying, like, all I have is my skill to rap or sing or play this instrument. Hey, like, let me know next time you need a verse.
Yeah, find the need. That's kind of the thing. What does that person seem like they would need? What are they trying to do?
Yep.
What are they trying to accomplish? What is, ask those questions, and then kind of do like a little self-assessment. And sometimes it really is just support, that sharing and getting other people's, like, commenting on their stuff and really bringing, eyeballs to their content. That's helpful. If that's all you can do, then that is still adding value. Like, especially for people like me who aren't like big people, we need you actually. And like, if I could get like a street team of 100 people that just shared stuff all the time for me, my gosh.
Man, who are you telling? 100 people? Like,
Right.
and people, you know what's funny? People probably heard you say 100 and go, only 100. I don't think y'all understand the
Absolutely
power
not.
that people have. Like,
Yeah.
if okay, let's put it this way. So, like, for the people that think that 100 people isn't that much, right? On iTunes when it was huge before Spotify and all that other stuff, an album was $9.99.
Mhm.
Imagine 100 people buy your album. Right? So some, like, I understand people want thousands of followers and millions of fans
Yeah.
across the globe. No, 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 no. Give me solid 100 that I
Mhm.
know every time I drop a new song, they're gonna get a T-shirt or they're gonna
Mhm.
be at my show or that. Give me a solid 100, and I
Yeah.
promise you, I won't care about anything else because you know what those 100 will do. Not only will they consistently get your stuff because they're a fanatic, they're gonna tell their friends and family about you too.
Yeah. Because they're not going to go to the show without somebody.
Yep.
You
So
know, they're not going to just sit there by themselves all the time. It's like people have people in their lives, turns out.
right, right.
People underestimate, that we're not actually just trying to make a buck off of them. Like when we ask them to share something, we're asking them to do the thing that we need them to do the most, actually,
Yeah.
just by sharing. And it's so easy. It's so easy.
Yeah. You know what? I would venture to say that networking has more to do with you genuinely wanting to know more about the other person
Mhm.
than it does what you can grab from them or what
Yeah.
connections they have. Um, I'll phrase it this way. You ever, like, growing up, you ever, like, as a kid just went into the pantry or whatever and grabbed a snack or that your parents bought from, like, the grocery store, and maybe your parents got that just for them, but
Mhm.
because you're their kid, you assumed it was yours too. You know what I mean? Like, it's just
Yeah.
like, no, this is mine. It's in the house, right? I live here, right?
Yeah.
And in that same way, like, that you didn't necessarily have to ask, or when you did need something, like, your parents were there. Like, that's how networking is. Like,
Mhm.
there are moments when you have a good circle to where those people surrounding you see the need before you even see it,
Yeah. Mhm.
and they bring it up to you,
Mhm.
or like they're talking on the back end for you on your behalf and you don't even know it, and then randomly you have an email for a performance and it's like, I don't even know this person. How did I get this? Like, I'm 2 states away. How in the world did I get this opportunity? Right. Um, so, like, that's why it's important. It's, you have to put focus on just getting to know that person. Like, if you're trying to force that relationship, guys, it's not going to work. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, I say that from experience. Tried, failed. Like,
Yeah.
tried that, don't work. Like, some of the best things that have ever happened to me as far as open doors in my career have just been, like, naturally, like, just being me.
Yeah.
And if someone, like, enjoys me on stage or off stage and they want to get to know me more, cool. But me forcing my way into, like, like a certain situation, or I know a lot of artists feel like there are particular artists in their community that are the popular ones, so they try to get themselves into that circle,
Yeah.
but it doesn't work. It doesn't work because, one, you don't have that same relationship with those artists, or two, maybe they were the unpopular ones at some point, and their
Mhm.
circle kind of came up with them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so
Round
when they're on
table.
that level, they're not looking to add anyone to the circle. It's
Mhm.
like, Emily, it's like you have a group of friends and you guys are just all hanging out downtown, and this random guy just comes by trying to make small talk, but you know he's trying to talk to one of your friends. It's like it's like, all right, bro, we know why you're here. Like, this just
You don't contribute to this conversation right now. This is not what we're talking about. Go away, please.
right. Like, why are you trying to make it seem like you care, but you don't. And that's how you seem when you try to force yourself into particular circles. Like, it's it's
You
not
can,
gonna
you
work.
can tell, you can definitely sense when someone is just wanting something, not actually caring at all about anything else except for themselves.
Mm, mm,
It's not a great look.
mm. Has there ever been a situation where networking was difficult for you, or maybe not difficult, but maybe, like, you learned that you had to maneuver differently?
I think it was more so participating, like I said, in things. Like when you go to a thing like Confab, and you talk to people and you're there supporting them at their set, and you know that everybody's there for that reason. It's, like you went out of your way, you did that with your time. You spent your time and your money. If you bought a ticket, like depending on whatever it is, everybody's there. And you're kind of like, just, I don't know, something about that was kind of that first kind of taste of marketing and just getting to know people in Charleston in the music scene.
Mm.
And then from there, it was like going and supporting people at their shows because you genuinely you were curious about what they do, and you're learning from them while they're up there, and you like what they do. And then you just kind of, you build like trust, like friendship out of it. Like you admire the person for, taking the time. Like you look at people's like love languages, like a lot of times it's like quality time or acts of service. I think that's probably all musicians. Words of affirmation, pretty good too for musicians, but like
Yeah.
the acts of service and quality time can really, really go a long way. Um, just naturally, like I said, it kind of makes it more natural.
Mm.
The
Mm.
more organic you can make things, the better. Because we're starving for authenticity.
Oh, facts. Oh, absolutely.
Starving.
Absolutely. No, I back you 100% on that. Because it
Like,
feels like no one trusts anyone.
yeah. So I mean, like that's why I try to balance even like with social media. I'm like, okay, this is not like a super flattering fact about me that I'm going to share, but it's real, and it's, I'm going to share it. Like I was thinking about this today, and like I'm preaching at myself because I'm dealing with this, but maybe somebody else needs to hear it too. Or um like I was saying earlier, not being like perfectly put together all the time. I think that can actually take away, like if you have this, like if you are so dolled up and perfect looking all the time, like for women, it can actually come off like as disingenuine in a weird way. Like you can't, they don't feel like they're connecting with you, like the real you sometimes if you're always made up.
Mm.
um you feel like you get to know people when like the facade is off. So like even physically.
Yeah, that's true. No, that's absolutely true. If if anything, your flaws connect you to those people. They
Because
do.
they're already comparing themselves
Yeah.
naturally. So if you can ease that burden of like comparing their weaknesses to your strengths because you've just had all your time, if you can ease that and make people feel a little bit more like comfortable and like they're not gonna see something you post and be like, oh, I just don't measure up. Like I hope that I never, I mean, it's inevitable if you're on a platform, you're gonna make people feel that way, no matter what, at some point. But for the most part, if you are making people feel like they never measure up, if that's your brand and that's your thing is to like be worshipped and like they'll never measure up to you, that doesn't sound great.
Not at all. Not
You
at all.
want to encourage people to be like the absolute best version of themselves more than being like you,
Mm.
and be really excited about that too. Not even just like, oh well, it's going to take some work. Like no, get excited about that potential in you. Like get excited about being you.
Mm.
And it's people feel that.
Oh yeah. It's funny, like because you're gonna fail at being someone else.
Yeah.
Like you're you're gonna absolutely fail at being someone else. Like you just I think that's why I feel like I have so much freedom now because like I I refuse to be anything else that's like not unapologetically me. Because like you realize life is so short
Mm-hmm.
and that like somebody needs what you have.
Mm-hmm.
Um and like if I'm just unapologetically me, then when I am networking with people, like whatever like I have to offer benefits those people, but
Mm-hmm.
whatever they have to offer because they're being them helps
Mm-hmm.
me out.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
That's how it's supposed to work.
Yeah. It's
That's
just
how
a very, we just gotta change our mindset on a lot of things, just in general.
fair enough. Fair
Yeah.
enough. Um, no, I think that's good. Like I definitely wanted to harp on the networking piece because I feel like I think artists don't really know what that means when they say it. It's like, yeah, I'm networking. Yeah, are you? Like, are
You just
you?
gotta get out of your comfort zone a little bit and put yourself in some situations, whether it's groups that are meeting digitally online, because those are happening.
Yeah.
There are groups out there that you can join, and they are meeting via Zoom, and there are collaborations happening. And I mean, you just gotta go get it. Like we were saying earlier, like go look it up. Look it up.
Yeah.
People ask me questions that they could look up, and I'm like, why are you asking me this? I went and looked this up. That's why I know this piece of information. I went and looked it up.
Because you want it.
Yeah. So it's like you don't. I mean, this. If you go look it up, it's there. It's all there for you.
Yeah.
There's somebody teaching it. There's somebody providing a service. There's some kind of resource that you can plug into
Mm.
for just about anything right now.
You know what's funny? You said getting plugged into groups, even virtual ones, right?
Mhm.
It made me think of a don't do, and that's if you join a virtual group, let's say Facebook, because Facebook actually has groups.
Mhm.
Do not go in there spamming your music,
They'll kick you out.
like because and you know what's crazy? Like you're absolutely right. The good ones, the ones that have community,
Yeah.
and they're actually trying to help each other, yes, they will kick you out like immediately.
So
But the
fast.
ones that don't kick you out, they're not built for a community.
Yeah.
They're just built to make you feel like, oh, there are 1,000 people in this group. Oh, I need to join this group and then just spam my music. That does not work, guys. Like
Mhm.
all of those people in that group, I shouldn't say, oh, I don't want to judge. Handful of people in that group, right? They care about only them, like only them. But
Yes.
the groups in which like they care about community and networking and all that other stuff, and they're sharing links with each other, like, hey, did you hear that video about how this affects artists? Hey, have you watched this? Have you seen this?
They're
Like,
doing the research on their own and
right,
sharing.
right.
Yeah. That's part of it is do the work yourself. Don't expect other people to do it for you.
Hmm.
Go get it. Go do the thing. It's all about going through the process. Like
Hmm.
take a course. There are free things online everywhere. You don't even have to pay. But you do gotta work.
you
You do, sorry.
like you may not have to pay with your money, but you're gonna pay with your time. Like something,
Yes.
something. Like and me and you both know this. Like if you don't invest in you, then it's not gonna matter who you network with.
Yeah.
Like
No, you're
because
not
they'll smell that a mile away, especially if they are who you think they are and they're at levels that you believe that they are. When you get around them, they're gonna sniff that. They're gonna sniff the fake out like
yes.
quickly. Like it's weird. It's like you could be in a group of people and just let people talk about themselves, like you said earlier, for 5-10 minutes. And you very quickly realize like who's actually doing this, like who's busting their tail, and who just likes to hear themselves talk.
Yeah,
Um,
it's very true. I almost think it's like go into a situation where you're gonna be sometimes there are like it's like speed dating. They actually have it like at certain networking events, like where you're literally paired up with an industry person and you have this much time to ask them questions.
mm,
It's set up that way. There are some like that. Have a list of questions that you want to ask people, even just in like your personal life when you're trying to get to know people. Like, what are some really good, thought provoking questions you can ask them about themselves, where
mm,
they're going to go on and on for a little bit,
yeah,
like because they like to answer that question.
yeah. Yeah, I mean that's a great point. That's definitely a networking dude. Please just let people talk about themselves. People have no
Get to know
problem
your
doing that. The only actually, this is probably like a gym. The only way that you will be negatively affected by that is if the person just so happens to be an introvert. So you should
Mhm.
probably be prepped just in case they're the introvert. Um,
Well, introvert, more than likely they just don't want to small talk. If
yeah,
you give them something real to talk about, they can go on. That's how I am because I'm technically an introvert. But if you give me something important to talk about, listen to me talking right now. I mean, it's not small talk. It's because it's real, and
Right.
that is energizing to me.
Mm,
So that's
mm,
introverts for you. Talk
mm,
about something real. Ask them something real.
mm. Maybe even finding whatever that, almost like that trigger is. Like what is that? What is that thing that everyone has, that one conversation that if you say it around them, they'll sit for an hour and talk about it, like an hour or 2 hours talk about it.
Yep.
So figuring out what that topic is, that is
People
actually,
are
I think
funny.
that's a good tip.
Humans are funny. We're not, I mean, we're complicated, but we're kind of predictable.
Yeah, this is true. No,
Predictable and complicated all at the same time.